Before the ashes, there was a song. Before the confession, there was a dream. This is not the voice of a king cataloguing his failures. This is the voice of a man who once imagined a love that could repair what power had broken. Listen to the dream he wrote down between feasts and crowns, between gardens and jealousies. Listen to the Song of Songs as a map of desire, a prayer for union, and a vision of what love might look like when it is whole. I remember a garden that was not yet mine and yet felt like home. It was a place of fragrance and fruit, of vines that wound like promises and wells that answered when you called. In that garden a woman walked with the ease of someone who belonged to the earth. Her voice was a bell. Her eyes were a secret. Her body was a language I wanted to learn. I did not speak as a king in that moment. I spoke as a man who had seen the world's splendors and wanted one thing more than all of them, a love that would not be a mirror for my vanity. She called me by a name that was not my title. She called me by the smallness of my heart. And in that calling I felt the possibility of being known, not admired. The song begins in the hush of longing. It moves like a lover's hand across a sleeping face. It names the body and the soul with equal tenderness. It does not reduce desire to appetite. It lifts it into covenant. This is the dream Solomon kept. Not conquest, but belonging. Not spectacle, but intimacy. The poem is not a single voice. It is a chorus. There is the woman who speaks with the frankness of someone who has been loved and the urgency of someone who fears losing it. There is the man who answers with praise and hunger, who sees the beloved as a garden to tend and a fortress to cherish. There is the chorus of witnesses, the daughters of the city, who watch and bless and sometimes warn. Each voice is a facet of love. The woman's speech is the language of longing. She names the beloved's body with metaphors that are both erotic and sacred. She invites, she remembers, she claims. The man's speech is the language of admiration. He praises the beloved's beauty as if praising her. Work of God. He promises protection. He imagines a life built around her. The chorus is the community that holds the lovers accountable. They are the public conscience that asks whether this love will be guarded or squandered. The fragmentation of the text is not a flaw. It is the truth of desire. Love does not rive in tidy paragraphs. It rives in fragments, in interruptions, in sudden recollections and jealousies. The poem's disjointedness is its honesty. It lets us overhear the private and the public, the whisper and the proclamation. The song speaks in gardens and vineyards, in spices and flocks, in towers and doves. These images are not mere decoration. They are a theology of love. A vineyard is not only fruit. It is a soul that must be tended. A garden is not only pleasure. It is a place where two people learn to cultivate trust. Fragrance is not only sensual, it is character made visible. When the woman says, "Let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth," she is asking for more than a moment. She is asking for a life sealed by affection. When the man calls her locked garden, he is not speaking of possession but of reverence. When the chorus warns of foxes that spoil the vines, they name the small, cunning sins that unravel intimacy. Neglect, secrecy, the slow drift of attention. The poem's metaphors move between the erotic and the sacred because the poet refuses to separate them. Desire is not profane when it seeks union. It is sacramental. The body becomes the temple of mutual recognition. The senses become a way to know God through them. No dream is immune to the world's gravity. The song knows this. It contains moments of doubt, of absence, of fear. The lovers are separated. The beloved wanders. The man searches the streets for the woman he loves. The chorus asks whether the love will endure. The tests of time and temptation. Jealousy appears not as a moralistic rebuke, but as a human wound. The lovers must learn to name their fears and to return to one another. The poem does not offer easy resolutions. It offers practices, calling each other by name, remembering the small gestures, guarding the garden against foxes. There is also a political edge to the song. In a world where kings build monuments to themselves, this poem imagines a kingdom built on mutuality. It imagines power surrendered to tenderness. It imagines a ruler who learns to measure greatness by the depth of his love rather than the breadth of his dominion. This is the love God wished Solomon had, a love that would have tempered his appetite, that would have taught him to see another as an end rather than a mirror. The song is a corrective. It is a vision of what might have been and, for those who listen, what still might be. If the song is a dream, it is also a manual. It teaches small disciplines that preserve love, speak plainly, praise honestly, return quickly from absence, protect the beloved's reputation, celebrate the body as a gift, tend the vineyard daily. The poem insists on presence. It values the ordinary, a shared meal, a walk through the fields, a whispered compliment in the dark. These are not trivialities. They are the scaffolding of fidelity. The song refuses grand gestures as substitutes for steady devotion. It also insists on reciprocity. Love is not a monologue. The beloved speaks, resists, invites, and commands. The man learns to listen. The woman learns to trust. The chorus learns to bless. The community becomes a guardian of the covenant rather than a voyeur of spectacle. Finally, the song insists on hope, even in its fragments, even in its jealousies. It returns to the image of the beloved as a garden, a sealed fountain, a tower of ivory. These images are not fantasies to escape life. They are beacons that orient it. They remind us. That desire, rightly ordered, points beyond itself to the divine. Before the ashes, there was a song. Before the confession, there was a dream of love that could have steadied a king. The Song of Songs is not a manual for lust. It is a hymn for covenant. It is a map for men who want to be more than conquerors of pleasure. It is a summons to build a life where desire and devotion walk together. Take the poem as an invitation. Learn its metaphors as practices. Guard your garden against foxes. Name your beloved with reverence. Return quickly from absence. Celebrate the small mercies of presence. Measure your greatness by the steadiness of your love, not the weight of your gold. This is the love God wished Solomon had. It is the love you can still choose. Let the song teach you how to love, that when the crown grows heavy, your heart will not be empty. Let the dream become the work of your life.